135 billion euros. Our financial support, coordinated with our G7 partners, covers most of this year's funding gap. Beyond protecting infrastructure, it is time, and even high time, to take our security and defense into our own hands.
This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, February the 9th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the news that U.S. President Donald J. Trump has spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump was speaking to the New York Post, and he revealed that he had a call with the Russian president as he was about to board Air Force One with NSA Director Waltz with him. And we have very little to no details on the call between Trump and Putin. Basically, Trump said that Putin is interested in stopping the war, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there was really no other details about this phone call. Actually, this phone call is so bizarre that when Peskov today was asked about the phone call, the details of the phone call are so bizarre and so on the down low. They're on the down low, man, that when Peskov was asked about the conversation between Putin and Trump, Peskov's reply was conversation. I don't know, maybe there was a conversation, maybe there was not. I have no clue. That was Peskov's reply, man. What? That means there was a phone call. That means there was a phone call. And I think this points to Putin trying to work out a peace deal with Trump. The fact that this is being so everything is so quiet and everything is so mysterious from the Kremlin surrounding this phone call, conversations between Putin and Trump, leads me to believe that something is at play. Something is going on. The New York Post says Trump reveals he's spoken with Putin by phone, says Russian president wants to see people stop dying in Ukraine war. Let me just read you what the New York Post is saying. Let me read you what they're saying. 1 second here. From Miranda Devine. President Trump has spoken to Russian leader Putin on the phone to try to negotiate an end to the Ukraine war, he told the Post in an exclusive interview aboard Air Force One Friday. I'd better not say, said Trump when asked how many times the two leaders have spoken, but he believes Putin does care about the killing on the battlefield. He wants to see people stop dying, said Trump. All those people, young, beautiful people, they're like your kids, 2 million of them, and for no reason. The 3-year-old war never would have happened if he had been president in 2022, Trump asserted. I always had a good relationship with Putin, he said. Unlike his predecessor, Biden was an embarrassment to our nation, a complete embarrassment. Trump said he has a concrete plan to end the war. I hope it's fast. Every day people are dying. The war is so bad in Ukraine. I want to end this damn thing, addressing National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who joined him in his study aboard Air Force One Friday night. The president said, let's get these meetings going. They want to meet. Everyday people are dying. Young, handsome soldiers are being killed. Young men, like my sons, on both sides, all over the battlefield. Okay, so he was aboard Air Force One. I said that the interview took place before he boarded Air Force One. So that's the phone call. Those are the details of the call between Trump and Putin, which is really no details as to what was discussed. There are no readouts, not from the U.S. side of things, obviously not from the Russian side of things. The fact that Trump called Putin before he spoke with Elensky or met with Elensky, that is going to make heads explode in Kiev and in Brussels. They are going to be very, very alarmed at this news, because they were pushing for a meeting with Trump. Elensky wanted to meet with Trump. He also wanted the Europeans to be there as well. And Zelensky's plan was that all three parties would sit down and they would discuss how to approach Putin and how to put terms to Russia. And that was what Zelensky was hoping for. He is not getting that. So that's the news. The big news from yesterday. Actually, let me read you what Peskov said when he was asked about the conversation. One second here. Here we go. Kremlin, mum on publications about contacts between Putin and Trump. Earlier, the New York Post wrote that Trump had reported discussing a settlement of the conflict in Ukraine with Putin by telephone, responding to a question from TASS whether Putin and Trump had a telephone conversation after the inauguration of the American leader. The Kremlin official replied, "What can be said about this news? As the administration in Washington unfolds its work, many different communications arise. These communications are conducted through different channels. And of course, amid the multiplicity of these communications, I personally may not know something, be unaware of something. Therefore, in this case, I can neither confirm nor deny." Yeah, right, man. He's pulling our chain, man, Peskov. Come on. I personally cannot confirm or deny. I'm the Kremlin spokesman. I handle all of Putin's communication and all of his media, and I have no idea. I organize his schedule. I have no idea if there was a phone call between Putin and Trump. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Trump Skyped Putin. Maybe he used Telegram and rang up Putin. Signal. Signal. It's more secure, right? It's nonsense, man. It's absolute nonsense. For some reason, the Kremlin does not want to say anything about conversations taking place with the Trump administration. They're trying their very best to keep everything hush-hush. Why is that? Well, let me take a guess. I don't know. Let me take a guess. I would say that that they are getting close to some sort of an agreement. Maybe they don't want to jinx it or something like that. They don't want to get into the details because maybe the Europeans, maybe the UK, maybe Keir Starmer will try to sabotage it. I don't know. Maybe the neocons will try to sabotage it. Maybe Trump doesn't want anything to get out, any details, because he's still going through confirmations, and he doesn't want people like Graham or McConnell to sabotage talks. Maybe he still has some draining of the swamp, I don't know, to complete, and he doesn't want to get sidetracked with a Russia negotiation. I don't know. Something like that could be going on. Something like that. But this is very typical of Putin, I would say. He does operate this way, or he has operated this way in the past. I remember during the coup, when Russia was trying to decide what they were going to do as far as lockdowns were concerned, and the jab and all of that stuff. Putin was consulting the economics ministry, and they were telling him, don't lock down. It's going to crush our economy. We've been doing so well. We've made so much progress. There's so much growth. If you lock down, it's going to be a disaster. And just don't go down that path. Don't do what the Europeans are doing, what the U.S., what Australia is doing. Let's not go down that road. And then on the other side of things, he had I believe it was the health ministry, who was very much, remember this was before the SMO, and the health ministry was very much in bed with the WHO and all of those globalist organizations, and they were pressing Putin to go full Australia-like lockdowns. And at the end of the day, I think that Putin took a middle ground. I think he was listening to both ministries, and he took a middle of the road approach. But he does that. He hears various voices in his security council in the Kremlin. He tries to get all sides involved, get all of the opinions, and then he usually comes out with his final decision. I imagine in this case, with negotiating with Trump and perhaps getting to some sort of a deal, I imagine that he's listening to hardliners like Medvedev. And I would also say the foreign ministry has taken a hardline approach when it comes to the conflict in Ukraine. And then on the other side, I would definitely say there are forces in the Kremlin who are probably telling Putin, come on, let's just get to a peace deal. Let's reintegrate, or let's get some rapprochement with the West, with the U.S. Let's get back on SWIFT. Let's start getting back to business. Let's start getting the LNG, the gas, the oil. Let's get that to our customers in the West. And let's just put all of this behind us. I imagine he's getting that type of pressure as well. So we'll see. We'll see what will happen. Interesting development. Very, very interesting development. Especially Peskov's comments. The stuff that Trump said, he said it a million times. This war would have never happened if I was president. Okay, we get it. But Peskov, not confirming it and not denying it, and making it appear as if he has no idea who Putin is talking to. Interesting. Very interesting. So J.D. Vance is going to be in Munich at the Munich Security Conference. The New York Post also reported on this, where he will be meeting with Elensky, the Green Goblin. Look out for the Elensky curse, Mr. Vice President. Yeah, he's gonna meet with Elensky. So, look, the Elensky curse, we know from research and from past cases of the Elensky curse that it's most potent in Kiev. So when Vance meets with Elensky, the Elensky curse will not be as strong. It'll be a bit weaker than if he had gone to Kiev and met with Zelensky. So that's a positive. If I was Vance, I would maybe consult with Orban. If Orban is going to be at Munich, maybe consult with him and see what he did to protect himself from the Zelensky curse. Definitely don't hug the Green Goblin, J.D. Vance. Do not hug the Green Goblin. You hug the Green Goblin, that's it. It's game over. It's game over. The Zelensky curse has got you. Shake hands. I guess you're going to have to shake his hand, but I don't know. Maybe if you can do a fist bump, that would be preferable. Just do like a fist bump. Hey, Elensky, what's shaking, man? That would be preferable. I don't know. Just go into it prepared. Go into it prepared. Speak to Orban, and see what he did. And good luck to you, J.D. Vance. The fact that Vance is going to be speaking to Elensky is also not good news for Ukraine. So you have a phone call with Putin. That's Trump's phone call with Putin, which took place before anything went down with Ukraine. Not good for the Zelensky regime. And he's going to be meeting, this is going to be the first meeting with the Trump administration for Zelensky with J.D. Vance. And we know J.D. Vance's position on Ukraine. He's one of the guys that wants to drop it. He's one of the guys that thinks this thing's a loser. We need to get rid of Project Ukraine. We need to drop this on the Europeans and on the UK, and we need to get focused on America first. So the fact that he's going to be meeting with Zelensky, not good news for Ukraine either. Pete Hegseth is going to be traveling, I believe, on the 10th to Europe. He's going to be going to Poland and to Brussels, and he's going to be attending the NATO ministers meeting. So he's going to be going to that, and during that meeting he is going to be pushing NATO member states to up their defense spending to 5% GDP, which would absolutely crush the NATO member states, especially the ones in Europe. He's going to push for that, and then he's going to attend the contact group meeting, the Ukraine contact group meeting, which usually takes place in Germany, but this time around it's going to, from what I understand, it's going to take place in Brussels as well. And Hegseth is going to be there, but he's not going to be. The U.S. is not going to be chairing that contact group meeting, Ukraine contact group meeting. It will be the UK who is now taking over the responsibilities of chairing the contact group for Ukraine. Hegseth to push Europe to boost spending on NATO. Ukraine as he visits Brussels. He's going on the 10th. He will be going to Germany, Belgium, and Poland. So maybe the meeting is taking place in Germany, the contact group meeting. One sec, let me see. At his first NATO ministerial with allied counterparts, he will engage with NATO allies and partners to discuss the need to boost allied defense spending, increase European leadership, and expand defense industrial base capacity on both sides of the Atlantic. According to a Pentagon statement, at the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting, the first to be chaired by the United Kingdom, the secretary will reiterate President Trump's commitment for a diplomatic end to the war in Ukraine as quickly as possible. He will also highlight the need for increased European leadership on security assistance to Ukraine, the statement went on to say. Maybe it is taking place in Germany, so he's going to go to Poland. The NATO meeting, I imagine, is going to take place in Brussels, and I guess he goes to Germany for the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting. I guess that's how it's going to go down. So he's going to tell NATO allies to up their defense spending on both sides of the Atlantic. On both sides. So you better start spending your money on the U.S. military-industrial complex. And he's going to then meet with the Ukraine contact group. And he's going to basically tell them that they need to take over Project Ukraine. He will also highlight the need for increased European leadership on security assistance to Ukraine. He's going to basically tell the Europeans, you guys need to start taking this thing over. That's how it sounds to me. So in Ukraine, Elensky, as he was giving his interview to Reuters the other day, where he was talking about rare earth minerals, Podolyak. We got lots of rare earth minerals, and I tell Trump, take them. He also told Reuters that he's got a plan to get 18-year-olds to the front lines without forced mobilization. And he's going to do that by giving 18-year-olds money. That's how he's going to do it. A lot of money, a very nice, enticing contract to join the military and to go to the front lines. That's how he's going to do it. Let's see what Elensky said. Ukraine to introduce option of contract military service for people aged 18 to 24. Elensky didn't say how many men are expected to join under such contracts. Combat brigades, experienced ones, together with the Ministry of Defense, have been working on a contract option for young people aged 18 to 24. This is for those who want to join up. It is not a mobilization, he told Reuters. There is a special contract. There will be many benefits. There is also a very high monetary provision. Details will be made public soon in the coming days. Elensky is doing his absolute best to try and avoid forced mobilization, to try to package it as something else, because he understands that if he announces forced mobilization of 18 to 25-year-olds, then his position as president could be in big trouble. He understands that. So he's tried his best. He's trying to, on the one side, he's trying to say, I'm doing as you wanted, European Union, UK, US, trying to get the 18-year-olds to the front lines to try and stop Russia's advance and stabilize things. But he's also then looking at the other side of things, at what's going on in Ukraine, and he's saying, look, I'm not putting in place forced mobilization for 18 to 25-year-olds. So my position as president is going to be okay. It's going to be secure. So he's trying to walk that line between what the collective West and NATO wants and the fear that he could be removed by his very own citizens if he goes forward with a forced mobilization in Ukraine. So that's what Elensky said. And what else? What else is going on in the world? Super Bowl is tonight, huh? Chiefs and Eagles. Who's going to win? The Chiefs and Eagles. I believe if the Chiefs win, that's going to be the first time that an NFL team has won 3 in a row, right? Wow. Boy, Trump is banning people. He is banning people. He's removing people's security access, their security clearance. He said he's going to do what he did to Biden, to revoke the security clearance of Biden. He's going to do it to Blinken and also Jake Sullivan. Actually, with Blinken, the reports are that Trump has banned Blinken from all federal buildings. Wow. If that's true, then wow. wow. Banning the guy from all federal buildings. He's getting off easy, if you want my opinion. Blinken is getting off very, very easy. But they say a lot of this anger towards Blinken is because he was the guy that put together the 51 intel agents. He coordinated the whole thing. 51 intel agents saying that the Hunter laptop is Russian disinformation. That was Blinken pretty much behind the whole thing. At least he was the guy that was running point and coordinating all of it. So he's going to be banned from federal buildings. Blinken. Poor Blinken. He's going to just be wandering the streets of DC, a man and his guitar, rocking in the free world. Who knows? Maybe Blinken can be a street performer. Maybe he can be a street performer in DC, playing his guitar. So, Trudeau. One more topic. Trudeau was caught on hot mic. Hot mic Trudeau. Talking about Trump and Canada and the 51st state and all of that stuff. Trudeau said, and this is coming from the Toronto Star, which I think is very pro-Liberal party. I don't know if they're pro-Trudeau, but they're definitely pro-Liberal. They said that Trudeau, on the hot mic, said, and he didn't know that he was speaking on a hot mic. He said, "I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know how many critical minerals we have, but that may be even why they keep talking about absorbing us and making us the 51st state," Trudeau said, as cited by the Toronto Star. The U.S. wants to benefit from Canada's natural resources, and Trump has it in mind that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and it is a real thing, he warned. He was at some event, and he was speaking to... Who was he speaking to as he was caught on a hot mic? Does anyone care who Trudeau was speaking to? Let me find out. I'm curious. Trudeau was telling businessmen. He was speaking to businessmen when he got busted on a hot mic. He didn't really say anything that's so controversial. That's Trudeau. I don't even think that's big news. All right, let's get to a clown world. And I'm going to have to create a clown world category called USAID Clown World, because we are getting so many revelations on USAID and all the crazy stuff that they were up to that I think I'm going to have to create a subcategory under Clown World dedicated just to USAID. The Washington Post put out an article. Get this. Listen to this title. Independent media in Russia. Independent media in Russia, Ukraine lose their funding with U.S. aid freeze. Independent media in Russia, Ukraine lose their funding with USAID freeze. Independent media in Russia and Ukraine have been critical of their governments and provide alternative reporting, but much of it relied on U.S. grants. Independent media lose their USAID funding. Independent media, in Russia and Ukraine, according to the Washington Post, have been critical of their governments, and they provide alternative reporting, but they rely on U.S. grants. Independent media in Russia and Ukraine rely on U.S. grants. Interesting definition of independent media from the Washington Post, from the Jeff Bezos Washington Post. Who came up with this title, and where was the editor before they published this title, before they ran this article? There was no editor to read this and say, independent media in Russia and Ukraine are struggling because they lost their USAID funding. Maybe not the best of titles. I guess there's no way around it. Huh? You're getting funding from USAID if you're a media outlet in Russia and Ukraine. Previously, you branded yourself as independent, though I still believe that they call themselves independent. The media outlets in Russia that are very critical of the Kremlin and of Putin, and they're always trying to get some regime change in Russia, they still call themselves independent media, but they're not so independent. It's just a word, independent. It's just a word. It doesn't really mean independent. Independent means U.S. funded. That's what independent means. Independent means U.S. funded. The Economist, they have an article with the title, "Cuts in American Aid Are Crippling Groups Promoting Rights in China. Some aid money has been very well spent." What about the other aid money that was not well spent? Oh, man. Yep. That aid money spent in China, that USAID money spent in China. What was all that money trying to do? What was it trying to do? They were trying to promote rights in China. The aid money was trying to promote rights. GB News, they have an article with the title, Putin forces injured troops back to battleground on crutches as more than 1,000 soldiers killed each day. Ah, the British media. The British media and their shovels, the BBC and their shovels. And now you have GB News and their crutches. The Putin, the Russian military, sending the soldiers to the battlefield on crutches, according to GB News. Because, well, according to the British media, Russia's losing and Russia's running out of weapons, and they have to use shovels, and they have to use crutches as well. And when you read this article, you realize that GB News, they are referencing the crutches story from information provided to them by the UK Ministry of Defence. This is where they're getting their information from with regards to crutches, Russian soldiers using crutches. And where does the UK Ministry of Defence get their information from? I'll tell you where they get their information from the Ukraine Ministry of Defense. That's a fact. And where does the Ukraine Ministry of Defense get their information from? From the UK Ministry of Defense. And it just goes back and forth, back and forth. That's how the information flows between the UK Ministry of Defense and the Ukraine Ministry of Defense. And then eventually they funnel it to the British media, and they come out with stories like Russia is running out of weapons, so they're using shovels. And the Russian military and Vladimir Putin are so evil, and they're so defeated that they're sending soldiers to the front lines on crutches. Anyway, that's the story there. And do I have anything else before I wrap this video up? Trump will not deport Prince Harry. Trump rules out deporting Prince Harry. He's got enough problems with his wife. That's a quote from the New York Post once again, via Trump. He's got enough problems. What did he say? He's got enough problems with his wife. That's what Trump said. What's going on with Harry? He has U.S. He has a green card, or he has U.S. citizen. He's a U.S. citizen, or something like that. And the story is that he lied on his application form or during the interview that he did not take drugs. Am I getting this story right? So he lied to the U.S. government. He lied to the U.S. government about something, and that's a big no-no, as he was trying to stay in the U.S. and trying to get his passport or his green card or whatever. And legally, he should be deported. But it looks like Trump is going to spare him. All right, that's the video. TheDuran.locals.com. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. You will find a link in the description box down below. It's cold today. My hand is freezing. All right, I need to get indoors. Take care.